protesting the sermon before I even begin. Guess it's been one of those weeks. As a thought experiment, because I don't have enough paper and pencils for everybody, as a thought experiment, if I were to ask you to draw a Jew, what type of image would you make? If I were to ask you to draw a Jew, what type of image would you draw? What would you draw? Anybody daring enough to answer that question? Yes.
Every kind.
Everyone.
Color, every height, everything.
I know not to call on her first next time. But be honest with yourselves. So she said, everyone. God, are you there? When I heard a ringing.
Shut the phone. I'm trying. There you go. Sorry.
What does a Jew look like? I'm sure that for many of you there is a stereotypical image, shall we say, Ashkenormative, that might come to mind when you think about what a Jew looks like. Hold on to that for a second. Last week, on Thursday, in Highland Park, a group called Collab Arts finished a mural right off Main Street. When you go over the bridge into Highland Park, as I believe some of you do on an almost daily basis, or at least certainly tonight, you'll see this on the left right by the Papa John's. I don't call it Papa John's Pizza because I'm from Brooklyn, and let's be honest, that's not real pizza. But on the other side of the parking lot of Papa John's, and just in case they're watching, because this is online, Papa John's is pizza, please don't sue Aunt Emmett. But on the other side of the parking lot, there's this beautiful mural, and I'm going to show it in a second, that a group called Collab Arts, Collaborative Arts, put up. Collab Arts is this beautiful, wonderful organization that does artwork that tries to bring together different groups, different ethnicities, different backgrounds, and do a collaborative art project with them. We're doing one with them. We're working with them and another group called Casa Esperanza in New Brunswick tomorrow, that the teens are working on right now as we speak as part of the Ames Family Project. And last Sunday, we are going to unveil the first draft of that mural to our teens. I don't have that for you right now. When it's done, it's going to be on the street in between the Chester A. Author School and Anshe Emmett. So when the kids are looking down from the school and we're looking down from Reitman Hall, we'll see this beautiful image that's going to be from street corner to street corner that represents these two communities and the stories that they bring as this coming together. Collab Arts in Highland Park put this together. The title is Home is Where We Make It. It's supposed to be an example of radical hospitality, a willingness to challenge one's own comfort for the sake of another's. And it's a depiction of 3 Syrian refugees. Now, if you remember from about 6 years ago, it was the first time we had an interfaith refugee march to raise money, and it was called We'll Take 10. It was to take in 10 Syrian refugees and settle them in Highland Park, and we thought it was going to be a one-time thing, right? Pastor Capperdale and myself got together with a couple of imams and a couple other priests, and we did this march through Highland Park, and we raised enough money not only to settle 10 refugees, but also start Interfaith Rise, which is a non-for-profit refugee resettlement organization. We have settled hundreds and hundreds of refugees in 6 years, in a large part to your generosity and your work and your effort. But this depicts Syrian refugees in particular because, I believe, it's where it all began. If you look at this stunning image, you'll notice a night sky that you don't really recognize because it's the night sky above Syria and that whole region. The flowers are flowers from their native lands, and I love the way at night it looks like their homeland is behind them and they're looking out into Highland Park and they see a new constellation and their new home is ahead of them here, that we have welcomed them with this audacious and radical hospitality into our homes. Now, I asked you, what does a Jew look like? Because one of the things that upset me in the last week was before they announced what this mural was supposed to represent, somebody posted a picture of it online on Facebook, because Facebook is the home of rational and kind thoughts, saying, this is supposed to represent the diversity of Highland Park, and if so, where are the Jews? And I looked at that statement, and I looked at that image, and I thought, they look like some of our congregants. We have congregants that look like, maybe not the woman in the hijab, but the other two, we have congregants that look just like them, that are Jews and are loved in our community. So when you say, where are the Jews? I don't see anybody that looks like a Jew in there. What are you really saying? And I also asked you, if you were to draw Jews, what would you draw? Because I think one of the things that's really hard to do for Jews is depict what we look like physically when sometimes actions are more important. I'll come back to that for a minute, because just like that's true for Judaism, it's true for Islam, because these are supposed to be three Muslim individuals, according to the artist and the people who commissioned it. But you only have one individual that you can be for certain there. Now, this painting was painted by a woman named Amarissa Nirnajan. And as she was painting it over the course of a week, she had a few people come up to her and call her a Nazi for drawing that in Highland Park on a wall that was owned by the people who commissioned it in a free community. A Nazi. Just so we're on the same page, because the term Nazi gets thrown around a lot right around now, the only people I think we should be calling Nazis are Nazis. And there are still Nazis out there. And the woman who painted this beautiful picture was not a Nazi. In between last Friday night services and Shabbat morning, this happened. The letters USA were drawn over the woman with the hijab, and 2 Star of Davids. The community was up in arms. Even on Facebook, I saw people who were commenting, where are the Jews, beforehand, saying how atrocious this was. Even if it was followed up by, but there are still no Jews depicted in this image. I saw a real nastiness that came with the response from the community at large. There was a great coming together, don't get me wrong. We had 2 tremendous vigils, one Saturday night and one Monday night, where Jews of every denomination came together to decry how terrible this was. But you know, Facebook being Facebook, and the bastion of peace in our community, has the ability to let other thoughts in as well. It has no filter. And what we saw exposed made me tremble. This week's Parsha is Parshat Kedoshim, the holiness codes. In it, we are told that we shall be holy because God is holy. And we need to create a kingdom of priests and holy individuals, that the way we live our lives needs to be done with dignity and respect and care for one another. We are told to remove stumbling blocks. We are told how to treat children. We are told how to treat our elders. We are told how to be fair in our business practices. We are told that we need to be mensches. Not that it would be nice if you could do this, but we are commanded to do this. If you were to ask me, what does a Jew look like? The only way you could figure it out is by their actions. And those were not actions that I consider to be Jewish. There is a commandment in this week's Torah portion. It is, you shall not hate your kinfolk in your heart. Reprove your kin, but incur no guilt on their account. I was proud of everybody who stood up and reproved what happened, but we need to not have hate in our hearts for one another. There's so much hate out in the world. It's like this circular wheel that we run on. Hate just begets more hate, which begets more hate. We need to get off of this cycle. We need desperately to remember the words of our parashah of you shall not hate another in your heart. We've got great problems ahead of us. And we as Jews are not immune to xenophobia. On Sunday morning, we brought the teens in, and we showed them the before. And we asked them, if this inspires you, what does it inspire in you? They wrote things like, inspires me to learn more about the different cultures near me. It inspires me to welcome people into my community, to be proud of Highland Park and accepting everyone. It inspires kindness. And then I showed them this image. And they were shocked that of all the things that they were inspired on, somebody could have been inspired to do that hateful act. After taking a look at the new image, I asked them, if this inspires you, what does it inspire in you? They wrote, our teens. It inspires me to be nicer to people and to stand up for immigrants. It inspires me to change. I need to change myself before I can change others. I need to listen more. I need to teach empathy. I need to think about my role in the community and what I could have done to prevent this. It inspires me to realize that even Jews can hate baselessly, and that I need to speak up more whenever I hear anything that's nasty. Just imagine if we were to take their inspiration of seeing this to heart. Instead of saying, this is terrible and getting angry, what if it just made us sad, but compelled us to do good work like the teens are seeing? Imagine what the world could be if even in this disgusting misery, we could be inspired like they were. At the first vigil Saturday night, after some of the clergy spoke, Pastor Amos, I always want to say Amos, it's Amos, got up and said, if anybody feels inspired to speak, please come on up and speak. Foolishly, I thought, oh, this is not going to go well. But then our teens came up. And here's what some of our teens said, with permission to be shown by their parents.
Hi, I'm Jahan, and I go to Highland Park Middle School, and I also go to Anshe Memorial Temple. And I just wanted to say that, this is I used to think that Highland Park was, the most accepting, the most diverse, town in the world. I know that sounds, extreme, but, I really used to think that, nothing bad would ever happen here, and that, we were in a bubble. But, I think that now, if you look at how many people need to flee Ukraine right now because of the war that's going on there, I think that they're not gonna feel welcome here after this, because, I go to Hebrew school at Anshe Memorial Temple, and we are working with Collab Arts right now. Every Sunday, we draw out ideas within artists to create a mural that depicts peace and acceptance, and this is really not what they teach. Okay, thanks.
I also go to Highland Park Middle School and Anshe Memorial Temple, and looking at this is obviously so wrong on so many levels. Even with the symbol that's been put on there, it's, as a Jew, that's not what it's even supposed to represent. That goes exactly against what it means. The Star of David is supposed to be a symbol of protection and welcoming and kindness, and it's protected the Jewish people, and that is exactly what it is not doing here. This is wrong. This is not what being Jewish teaches. This is not what that symbol teaches. It's disgusting, honestly, and it's so horrible. This is also not what Highland Park teaches. This is wrong. This is wrong to me as a Jew, as a person. I hope this is wrong to everyone who is here. And by coming out here, you guys show that it is. And that is what the symbol should be showing. That us as a community, together, working for justice and peace and protection for people in need of it, that is what that is supposed to represent. And it's honestly so horrible to see it not doing that. But you guys coming together, all of us coming together to raise awareness for this, that is what that is about. And I hope that it continues to be. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mira, and I go to Bartle Elementary School, and I'm also a part of Anshe MS. And right now I'm just I don't know what to say, because Highland Park always has felt to me like such a thoughtful and respectful community. But looking at this, I'm shivering because now I just don't feel safe anymore, and I know a lot of you don't either. And I just wanted to say that this town has been through so many things. The war in Ukraine, COVID, just so many countless things. And I just want you all to know that seeing as many people here today makes me feel safe and proud, but still, this mural, what happened to it is not acceptable. But I want you all to know that this community, a lot of people here will always have your back, and they're always gonna a lot of people are always gonna be there and protect you and make you feel welcome. And yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Now, they did catch the person who did this. And before I talk about that, let me just say I couldn't be prouder of our kids. And if they were to just have the kids speak and let all of us adults just sit there, that would have been Dainu enough. They did catch the guy. You can Google it and find his name. I'm not going to read it here because I don't want to bring his name dignity. But it is not what you would call a stereotypical Jewish name. Now, I say that because names can be very deceiving. And if we think about what a Jew looks like, and we realize that there are Jews of every other shade under the umbrella or under the sun, and you realize that your rabbi's name is Philip Newton Bazeley, anybody can be a Jew. And I heard people, when they saw the name on Facebook, write, "Oh, thank God, not a Jew." But nowhere was it ever written. And by the way, the response shouldn't be, "Oh, thank God it wasn't a Jew." But maybe, "Oh, thank God we can now start to heal." We have a lot of work ahead of us as a community. And I feel as though we are standing at the precipice of something. Will our community rip itself apart? And I'm not just talking about Highland Park. I mean our community in the world. People are so angry at one another. Will we have the strength to come together, to heal the fractures that are in our society? And I believe one of our teens who wrote it got it right. We need to teach empathy. And we can only learn about empathy and teach empathy if we hear one another's stories. Countless time at those vigils, I heard, we need to stop talking about race and we need to have conversations with people that don't look like us and don't think like us and are different from us. Over again, one speaker after another. And you know what? I heard it at the last vigil 3 months ago. I heard it at the vigil for George Floyd. I heard it at the vigil for the refugees. But we haven't come together. It's time for us to stop talking about race and diversity and inclusion and actually start talking with people that aren't like us. And if we can do that, then maybe, just maybe, we can live in that holy society that God asks us to build around ourselves. Shabbat Shalom.